Today we're going to add another switch and another light to our lighting circuit off our sub panel. That was part one. This is part three. So I'm taking a little bit of wire, stretching it out. I pre-drilled my holes. This is my light box, and this was the first light that we had run off the panel. And so I showed you before the little curly Q, so that tells me that this is the switch leg going up to the light. And I want you to keep the neutrals at the switch box, because all these smart switches these days need a neutral. So there is other ways to wire it. If you want to write a comment about it, but this is the way I want you to wire it. It's going to be my feed to my next switch, which this could be in your bathroom or the next room down. 12 inches from the box. Put a staple. We're adding a switch to the lighting circuit. And we're using 14-2, 15 amp circuit. Here's our next light up here. That's enough wire for there. Switch leg. And my little cheat thing that I showed you last time. Oop, don't squeeze it too hard. Just notch it like that.
And what's the purpose of notching it?
Just so when you have multiple wires, you can tell which one is the switch leg. So I'm going to strip them now. Oh, be careful not to notch the wires. Just get the little plastic sheeting off. And when I do have multiple wires, I like to get the switch leg one in first. And also put the curl in it, so I don't get confused. Lord knows I'm easily confused. This is the feed for our switch. This is our second switch on the lighting circuit. And with LED lights these days, the actual load, we don't want to go over 80%, right? Like 12 amps. But with LED, we can put so many lights on. The math has really changed. I like to start with my grounds first. Twist them together, take your alignments, give it a good twist, good and tight. Trim one back. This is the barrel crimp to put on the ground wire. Slides on there, and you just squeeze it on. You don't need a crimping tool. You can just squeeze it on. Not going anywhere. Give it a good squeeze. I like to tuck my ground in the back, get it out of the way, and leave it to the side, because I do need some to put onto the switch later. Then I do my neutrals. Hold them together, twist them nice and slow, get them good and tight. Trim it off. Use a good wire nut. So the neutrals are made up. That we don't need the neutral because we're doing a regular switch here. It's not a smart switch. So this neutral is going to get tucked in the back here. So it's out of the way.
So you do the neutral regardless even though you're not going to use it?
Well, we need the neutral made up to feed the neutral to the light. And then I twist these together, cut it, and I always put a wire nut on the hot wire. Twist this together, trim it, bend it all neatly into the box. So after the drywall's up and you come back to make up your switch, so when you come back to do your switch, you pull this out and you know that the one with the wire nut is your hot wire, and then the other circuit with the curly Q in it is the switch leg. So that goes onto your switch, and of course the bare copper is the ground. So after the drywall's up, that's easy to come back to. So we're going to put the wires into the light fixture, and I'm not going to bother put a light fixture on today. I will just get the wires into the box. Just bend that up a little so you can get the wire in there. So the wires are in the box, and this box has a green screw on it right here. We all know that the green is for ground. It's a big long screw, so attach the wire, the bare copper to it, and make sure you leave enough because most light fixtures do come with a ground. And once I have that done, I put a wire nut on it, and I take them all, and I tuck them in the back of the box. And now we're ready for the drywall, and we'll come back and install a light fixture. Now, we had already run power from the panel to the first switch box. So now we have to tie in the feed to the next switch box. So we already ran a feed here from the panel. So we strip our wires in. It's okay to put 2 in one hole. That's legal.
Now, when you put 2 in one hole, what are you referring to? You mean the knockout?
The knockout in the back, I'm going to show you. I'm going to get 2 in one hole. Keep the switch leg in its own hole. Just another thing so you don't screw up. So here we go. We got the extra wire in there. So we're going to make up the grounds. This ground was a little short in here before, but we have enough to make it up. Twist these 2 together. Then I'm going to grab the third one with my alignments and get them all twisted together nice. Good and tight. Little thing sticking out. Trim this one back. Tighten it up. Another barrel crimp. I have a barrel. They're big enough to go on 3 wires. So get it down there where the 3 wires are. Don't squeeze your finger. Barrel crimp is made up. Tuck that up in the top. So now we can make up our neutrals. They were made up once before. I'm going to skin them a little longer. When you got a little bit longer wire, it's easier to twist together. I had twisted these before. Do 2, get them twisted, and you twist them lightly. Don't get them really tight. Then take the third one and lay it right in the groove there. And then you tighten them all up nice. And it all fits together really nice. It looks good and tight. Trim off the end. Put a good wire nut on it. Get it on there good and tight. And we're not going to have a smart switch, so we're going to tuck our neutrals into the back. So now we're doing the feed. So we have our switch leg with the loop, so we know which one that is. We're going to push that to the side. And we're going to make up our feed wires. So it's the feed coming in from the panel and the feed going out to our next light. But we also need, and I call this a pigtail, a jumper to go to feed our switch that's going to feed this light. Just watch me now. We're going to strip these. I'm going to strip this, and then we call this a pigtail. Start with my 2 wires. Little twist, not too tight. Lay the third one right in the groove there. Hold them tight. Get a real good twist and tight on them. And a good wire nut. And this is the hot wire now. I put another wire nut on the end of the hot wire so we know it's our hot. And I tuck these black ones in, and then I twist these 2 together and wrap the ground on it and tuck them all in the box like so, so that they can drywall. And then when I come back after the drywall's up, I can easily pull this out and I can see that this is my switch leg with the loop in it, and this is the feed, and this is my ground wire to make up the switch. So in part 1 we showed you how to make up the switch, so this, and then we have the other switch right here. The wire nut fell off, but the wire nut should be on here. And that's our 2 switches. So if you had another switch, another room, you could just come off this one and do the same thing multiple times. Daisy chaining switches. So that's, and I want you to keep the neutral at the switch box just in case you want to put a smart switch in here that needs a neutral. Don't bother wiring them any other way. Hit all your switches, and that's the way I want you to do it. Big Mike signing off. I really appreciate you watching my videos, and I wish you subscribe. I'm gonna take it step by step. I want to teach you guys how to do your own room addition, just basic electricity. If you have any questions or comments, but please subscribe. I'm doing this for you guys because I know how to do it. I'm not doing it, I don't need the exercise.